going on, everybody? Welcome into the Bulls Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and I wanted to go over 3 free agents I could see our Chicago Bulls signing, that being bringing back Doug McDermott, a veteran in Marcus Morris, and then actually a younger guard that I would be very interested in Lonnie Walker. But before we dive into that, guys, I just want you guys to name a free agent you guys want the Bulls to sign. If there's a top name out there that you think would benefit this Bulls basketball team this upcoming season, hey, you guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section and name a free agent you want the Bulls to sign. Now, you may be freaking out right now. Why would the Bulls bring in any free agents? Well, Will Gottlieb, pretty tapped in with the Bulls. He had this quote the other day, and I thought it was absolutely hysterical. He says, attaching assets to move off Levine is a non-starter for a Bulls team that projects to take a step back next season. That said, they aren't trying to be the worst team in the league to keep their top 10 protected pick going to San Antonio. It's a factor, but the primary focus is building a young group that can be the foundation for the next great Bulls team. This is the part that cracks me up. If they make the play-in or playoffs with this group, it will have been because of some of their young players taking a step forward. Now, I think this is hilarious. If this is true regarding the Bulls and their mindset heading into the season, that they would view a play-in tournament appearance a success, considering the Bulls have literally been in the worst spot in the NBA over the last couple of years, being the 9th seed in the Eastern Conference. So I can see the Bulls looking at free agency right now if they aren't moving off Levine or Nikola Vucevic and being like, hey, I want that guy, and they'll help us get us better on the margin. So let's talk about the first name here. Bringing back a Bulls legend in Doug McDermott. This was one of my worst draft takes of all time. I thought the Bulls were getting the next Larry Bird when they traded, I think it was Nurkic and Gary Harris in the first round to land the Creighton superstar Doug McDermott. I was completely wrong on him. But hey, I'll tell you what, Doug's had a pretty solid NBA career. Obviously, haven't probably lived up to the hype he had coming out of the draft, but you guys see the shooting splits on your screen right now. Over 40% from downtown over the last 3 seasons. Absolutely fantastic. And he's actually been a double-digit points per game guy in 3 of the last 4 years. So good on there for Doug McDermott. But what would he add to the Chicago Bulls that they don't necessarily have? I think spot-up shooting. Clearly, he is one of the best spot-up shooters in the NBA. He actually has a nice little, one dribble pull-up game, to his arsenal. But he's one of the best catch-and-shoot three-point shooters in the entire league. You can also run some weak side actions with him being the pick-and-roll ball handler, decent passer, and he's also going to add a whole lot of experience. Obviously he was a college superstar, went to the NCAA tournament multiple times, played in some big-time games there, and, I think experience on this Bulls roster, specifically at the wing position, could be incredibly useful because you got 3 young wings right now, and Patrick Williams being 22 years old, Julian Phillips is just 20, and Modest Buzelis is only 19 years old. So I think there would be some benefit there adding in a veteran, just have that, other vocal leader in the locker room to help these guys with the day in, day outs of the NBA practice. And, I think it would be huge to help, develop these guys to take that next step in their game. And plus, what is the biggest question mark with all 3 of these players? Is their spot-up shooting? Well, Doug McDermott would answer that and probably help him out there because, hey, Doug McDermott this past season, still one of the best catch-and-shoot three-point shooters we have in the NBA, knocking him down at 40.3%. Pull-up three-point percentage only took about 1 per game, but he shot it at 47.8%. Pull-up midi field goal percentage, 41.7%. Doesn't take a lot of them. But then also, from the free throw line down, shot 52.6%. Now, I do want to show you guys a shot chart because this is hilarious. It is literally just a layup or a three-pointer for Doug. He does have some ability to get to a one-dribble pull-up if a defender's closing out on him really fast. He can just blow right by him, get to that spot-up shot. But you guys see it on the darker circles, the darker shade of blue. It's higher compared to the league average, so he's great at the top of the key, great on the left wing and in the right corner. Then he's also shown some ability to get to the rack with just his size that he has. But my take on Doug McDermott, I'm passing on him. Now listen, if the Bulls were a contender in the Eastern Conference, I would actually love Doug McDermott. Even though he didn't really get too much tick in the playoffs with the Indiana Pacers, I think it could be valuable just having another guy who can come in, knock down three-point shots. Use this comparison, maybe a little zealous, but maybe like how Sam Hauser had a role with the Boston Celtics. I could see Doug, getting on a championship team and having that role. But hey, the Bulls aren't even close to competing in the Eastern Conference, so I would probably pass on Doug McDermott. But I want you guys to help show Doug McDermott some love, as he was one of my favorite college basketball players of all time. And I actually thought he had a pretty good tenure with the Chicago Bulls. So type those 11s, type the jersey he wore with Chicago, and yeah, show him some support down in the comment section. Now, another one of my favorite players in NBA history, Marcus Morris. Funny enough, I actually went to a Bulls, or not a Bulls, it was Celtics-Bucks in Milwaukee. I drove up there for a weekend game, and Marcus Morris was shooting around pregame, and I yelled out, "Yo, what's up, Marcus?" And he turned to me and gave me a what's up. So, he's always been kind of one of my favorite players. Always been a little more biased towards him. But, hey, over the last 4 years, he's still been solid, man. And, obviously took that big step back this past season, only averaging 6.4 points per game, only around 3 rebounds. But he's still pretty efficient from downtown, shooting 40% from deep. But the 3 years before that, he was still pretty good. I mean, that 2021 season, he was a 15-a-game guy, averaging 4 rebounds as well, and pretty efficient from the field. But what would he add to the Bulls? I think he would add some toughness. Now, I think when we lost Alex Caruso and lost DeMar DeRozan, that was definitely a concern for me heading into the year, that the Bulls don't really have a lot of tough guys on this basketball team. Well, Marcus Morris is the definition of that. We talked about veteran presence, similar to Doug McDermott, but with the wings the Bulls have, I think having a guy like Morris in that locker room would add a huge, benefit. Then also, very similar to Doug, he is a good spot-up shooter, can knock down threes in the flow of the offense, still very, very effective in that regard. I mean, the catch-and-shoot three-point numbers this past season for Marcus Morris, fantastic, 43% from downtown on those opportunities. Doesn't really take a whole lot of pull-up mid-ranges, but he did shoot it at 42%. And then, obviously, doesn't get to the rack as much as he used to, but still 60% damn near from less than 10 feet. Now, on the contrary to Doug McDermott, me saying I would pass on him, I would actually sign Marcus Morris. And the biggest reason for this is I think his locker room value and his locker room presence is more valuable than a guy like Doug McDermott. And I think the Bulls are, I thought it was the right move to move off DeMar and let him walk and, let him go chase a ring wherever that, ended up being, obviously with the Sacramento Kings. But, I think we saw how important DeMar was to guys like Kobe White and Ayo DeSumo specifically, as, those guys have raved about him, raved about how DeMar was like that older brother in the locker room for him. And I think Marcus Morris would add that similar presence as, especially for these young wings. He is a guy that, has played in some big playoff games in the Eastern Conference, has played in TD Garden in Game 7s. Like, he's been there and done that. So I think it would be a good addition, especially for guys like Patrick Williams and Modest Buzelis. More specifically, Patrick Williams, because he plays so passive, and I would want to see him, unlock that aggressive nature in his game. And I think if there is any player that would help him do that better than anybody, it would probably be Marcus Morris. But hey, you guys let me know. Would you sign Marcus Morris? Give me an S for sign or a P for pass down in the comment section. If I was watching this video, I would be spamming my S's down below. I think this would be a good, locker room guy to have for the Chicago Bulls. But the third player, what about the Bulls signing Lonnie Walker? Now, another guy I was wrong on. I was very big on this guy coming out of the draft. He's had a decent start to his NBA career, but he hasn't, lived up to the hype he had coming out of college. But here are the numbers on screen for you guys. He's always been pretty efficient. Averaging around double-digit points every single year. Never has been the elite playmaker. Only averaging, a career-high 2.2 assists in 2021. But, I do think Walker, he is only 25 years old. And I think that's key when you're talking about free agents right now, because I think the Bulls should either go, the veteran route where they're getting a guy to help out the locker room and to help these young guys, or you just get another young guy to help contribute to this youth movement. But he is 6'4", 204 pounds, incredibly long wingspan at 6'10". That helps him, obviously, be a better defender. And then he was the 18th overall pick in 2018. But what would he add to the Bulls? I think he would add perimeter defense, which they definitely lost with losing Alex Caruso, being that strong point of attack defender at the guard spot. Obviously, Lonnie would be great at that. He actually is a decent pull-up shooter, and he had some toughness. Anytime I watch Lonnie Walker, he plays with this swagger. He plays with this confidence out there on the basketball court. And I think the Bulls right now, I think, Kobe White, Ayo, and Modest, they all play with a sense of swagger. But besides that, I want to see more from Julian Phillips, Patrick Williams when it comes to playing with that confidence and pumping out your chest a little bit. Lonnie Walker would do so. Now, taking a look at his shot chart, it's so funny. If you just look at any NBA player's shot chart, it is all threes and layups. And Lonnie fits into that category. But he does have a little more pull-up shooting ability in comparison to a Doug McDermott. Coming off the pick and rolls. We saw him with the Lakers in that one playoff run. I thought he was great, navigating pick and rolls and weak side action. And, he had a pretty good run there, but, he's a pretty decent three-point shooter, more specifically from that left wing, which, most righties favor that corner in comparison to the right one. So he has an ability to knock down an open shot in the flow of the offense. But listen, I would sign Lonnie Walker. It would obviously have to be on a vet minimum deal. Wouldn't want to give him any more money besides that. But he would just be another player to add to this youth movement. Because then you would look at the guards that you would have. It would be Josh Giddey, Kobe, Ayo, and then obviously if Lonzo ends up coming back and being healthy, like you would have 5 young guards all under the age of 26 that have some sort of two-way ability. Obviously not Giddey or Kobe White, but you would have all different types of archetypes of guards, and I think it would be a fun addition for the Chicago Bulls. But hey, I want to get a real one roll call going then today's show. If you guys made it to the end, give me a D Rose down in the comments section. I was talking about some of my favorite college players on today's show, but no doubt my favorite NBA player of all time is that man from Chicago, Derrick Rose. So if you guys made it to the end, give me a D Rose down below. And also, guys, make sure you guys are subscribed here to the channel, and also give me a follow on Twitter. That's a handle right there, @PatSieps. If you guys do so, I will give you guys a follow back. But thank you guys so much for watching today's program. Hopefully the Bulls end up making a big-time move here soon before the season gets started. But, hey, if they do, we'll have a video for you guys ASAP. We'll see you guys next time. As always, go Bulls.